You know, but people get confused about it. I mean, years ago it was the WBA and the WBC. And then years before that year it was the IBC. Before the WBA came into place, it was something called the IBC, you know?
Yeah.
The first of my time, you know, and I'm coming from a young guy, you know. I started amateur boxing in 1959.
Okay.
I had my first fights in 1959, and it was something called the IBC. Before
IBC.
a long time before the WBA.
Okay. I remember, well, when I say remember, I know there was an NBA, and they used to have the New York Athletic State Commission World Title.
Just go online and do some research called the IBC, as I remember.
What champions held that belt? Was that a popular belt?
It was a world title, the IBC.
Okay. IBC.
You know, mobsters had control of it. You know, some guy, if you associate that with some guy named Blackie Gennaro, you'll find something that the mobsters was controlling that too, you know.
Okay.
Well, the mobsters are still controlling boxing. They just come from Panama and Mexico and all these other places. Everybody still got a hand in this. You know, it's a syndicated thing. They all mobsters, you know.
Okay, so you're saying the mob element is not totally out of boxing?
It's not. It was at one time the Italian mob.
Yeah.
But now everybody's got a hand in it. I mean, how else can you justify all of the belts? How else can you? I mean, you know, in the United States they call it racketeering. If two or more people involved with a scheme to make money, they call it racketeering. And how else can you describe it?
Well, that's the only way you can describe it.
Yeah, you can't keep up. You can't keep up with the who's who in boxing because there's so many damn belts.
That's right.
There's so many damn belts. You know what I'm saying? So the individual has to go out and make claim to the belt. Like a guy like Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd Mayweather Jr. doesn't need a belt.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't need a belt. Everybody recognizes him as the best. You understand?
Yeah.
Lennox Lewis didn't need a belt. Lennox Lewis didn't need a belt. You know, Lennox was the best. And at this point, I don't think that Vladimir Klitschko needs a belt because everybody that knows boxing knows that he's the best heavyweight in the world.
I remember a time that they didn't need belts to sell fights. You used to get good 10-round fights, like, you know. I remember Barry McGuigan fighting Juan Laporte, no belt needed, and then he went on to fight for the title. Joe Bugner used to fight guys like Ron Lyle. No title needed. They didn't.
Well, you know what? It's a different time now because these guys, you got a guy like Deontay Wilder. You know, you got Tyson Fury. You got a bunch of guys that's undefeated fighting second, third tier fighters and won't fight each other. Ron Lyle, Joe Bugner, the Canadian guy. What's his name? Canadian heavyweight.
Canadian.
That fought. Canadian heavyweight.
Bermain Stavern.
No, back.
Oh, back Chavallo? Feed just cut out. I think you're talking about George Chavallo and Jerry Quarry. Really good white heavyweights, but they had to be. They was competing in the 70s.
Why they was ranked so high because they were always fighting each other. Kenny Norton fighting Ernie Shavers. Ernie Shavers fighting Ron Lyle. Ron Lyle facing Jerry Quarry. So it was always a crisscross. And everybody is just trying to sit on their undefeated records and go to the dance and say, hey, I'm 39-0. But 39-0 against who? You understand?
That's the
That's
question.
what makes boxing. This is what the fans are paying for. They're paying for good fights, not fights that's already, you have a preconceived notion of who's going to win the fight before they come in the ring.
Yeah.
Most of these guys in the ring, you know who's going to win the fight before this guy. He's going to blow this guy out, you know? Nobody wants to see that, man. They're hurting boxing with it.
You see, the 70s was the most competitive era for heavyweight boxing. Why do you think it was so competitive?
Because those guys believed that they were the best. You take a guy like Tim Witherspoon, who fought Larry Holmes. I think he fought Larry Holmes 13, 14 fights, maybe 15 fights. But for a guy that didn't have an extensive amateur career, a guy with only 14 or 15 fights, to fight a seasoned Larry Holmes, a primetime Larry Holmes. Tim Witherspoon stepped up to the plate with only 14 or 15 fights to fight a well-conditioned, a well-rounded champion in Larry Holmes, and he gave Larry Holmes a great run for his money and lost a narrow decision. A lot of people today think Witherspoon should have got that decision. And then if you check Tim Witherspoon's record and look at the fights that he fought after Larry Holmes, you say, wow, he was fighting the who's who of the heavyweight division after that with limited experience in boxing.
Yes, he did.
He had courage. He had a lot of courage, and he didn't sit around playing twiddly links, twiddly dinks, trying to duck and dodge nobody. He said, come on, bring on the best guys. And that's what made Witherspoon a two-time world heavyweight champion, because he didn't duck and dodge. He came to fight.
Well, you see, you hit it on the nail.
He came to fight. Every time he came out, he came to fight. And he had limited experience.
Yeah.
I used to be big on that. Years ago, as a young trainer, I was big on having an advanced amateur career.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a benefit, and sometimes it's a nemesis.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a benefit, sometimes it's a nemesis. Sometimes it can do good for fighters, and sometimes it can hurt fighters. You
see, to me, it would be hard for the heavyweights today to beat someone like Witherspoon. If you look at his resume and say a 5-year period in the 80s, like he fought Holmes, he fought Pinkland Thomas, he lost his title to Pinkland Thomas, he fought Tony Tubbs, he fought Bone Crusher Smith twice, he fought Frank Bruno in the UK. They're just not competing on that level. They're just not doing that,
No, they're not. They're trying to stay safe.
I agree. Even the 80s was very competitive. Very competitive. See, what annoys me when I talk to people about heavyweight boxing these days, they keep bringing the size of the fighters today. I said, yeah, they're big, but they don't compete as hard. I don't think they've got the same spirit. You can be big, but if a man has got more spirit and will than you and know-how, and he's doing it regular against a higher level, you can be big as you want. You're going to fall over in a big test. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, guys are big and strong guys, but Layman Brewster went against Vladimir Klitschko, and he took a beating.
Yes.
In that first fight, he took a beating, but somehow he overcame the size, he overcame the power, the strength, everything, and he won the fight.
Yes, he did. And a lot of people tried to discredit Brewster's win and say, oh, Klitschko wasn't right on the night. But no. Like you said, he took his lumps, he came back. And that's what heavyweight boxing is about, being able to take a punch.
That's what heavyweight boxing is. That's what boxing is about, period.
That's boxing, period.
Overcome.
Yeah.
Overcome. Like Razor Ruddock and Mike Tyson won. It was like, oh, Ray Razor to my man, they stopped it too soon. No, they didn't stop it too soon. Mike was about to kill you, man.
Yeah. You're right. I interviewed Richard Steele. He said the same thing.
When his hand was behind the rope, when Razor was complaining, remember, if you look back at the fight, his right arm was still hanging outside the rope. If you're going to complain about you're all right, how about getting your arm back inside the rope and putting both of your hands up? One of his arms was hanging outside the rope when he was talking, like, I'm all right. Mike Tyson would have hurt Razor Ruddock that night.
Yeah, he was going to tear his head off, man.
Yeah, what Richard Steele said is that if you ever see a fighter give up his gum shield, he gave up his mouthpiece straight away in that first. Yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right. He knew it as well. I don't know why he complained later on.
I like Razor Ruddock myself. I liked him.
Yeah. What did you think of Cleveland Big Cat Williams? Because I like talking about the old fighters, yo. I think Cleveland Big Cat Williams was a beast, and it's a shame he didn't get a chance to fight Floyd Patterson. I reckon he would have beat Floyd Patterson. What do you think about it?
Cleveland Williams was a good fighter. He just came along and it was Ali time. If he had came before Ali or after Ali, he'd have been all right. But
you don't think because he got shot that changed anything? Because that first fight with Sonny Liston, people say like Sonny had something in his gloves, rubbed it in his eye, and he Cleveland said like he couldn't see properly, and the Lenneman thing, what happened, but because he got shot.
Everybody that fought Sonny Liston said Sonny Liston had something on his gloves.
Yeah.
You
He was
don't believe
connected
that.
to that mob, so we never know. I mean, we never know.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, yeah, he had something in his glove or something on his glove. I'll tell you what he had on. He had Sonny Liston in his glove. That's what it was. You know?
All right, and so I interviewed Dr. Fernando Pacheco, and he said like Ali would have never lost to someone like a Buster Douglas, because I was comparing Mike Tyson to Buster Douglas. But then I talked to Steve Lott. Steve Lott was saying, well,
He lost
look
to
at Mike
Spinks.
Tyson.
Who?
Huh?
Ali lost to Leon Spinks, 7 fights.
Yeah, but Leon Spinks weren't that bad. He ain't no Buster Douglas. Ali would have never
You
lost
think
to someone.
Leon Spinks wouldn't beat Buster Douglas in a fight?
Leon Spinks is a Hall of Famer. Buster Douglas ain't.
Yeah, but Leon Spinks wouldn't beat him in a fight. He wouldn't
He'll
get
go-
past the jab. He wouldn't get past Buster Douglas's jab.
No, I'm not comparing it, but I'm just saying Leon Spinks is a higher caliber fighter. He's better than Thing. He's better than Buster Douglas. Ali would have never lost to someone like Buster.
Well, who's the other names on Leon Spinks' record who he's beat?
No, let me go ask Bashir anyway. I'll get into it later with you. Look, we was comparing Mike Tyson versus Ali, and Dr. Fernie Pacheco said Ali would never have lost to a Buster Douglas type of fighter. But then I talked to Steve Lott. Steve Lott said, well, if you look at Ali when he fought like Doug Jones and some of them guys there, and he got floored in a couple of times. That he makes the argument that Mike Tyson every minute, every round, Mike Tyson would have been putting it. How do you see that fight if they were to fight in their prime? Who would have won?
Who?
Ali, Tyson.
Ali outpoints him.
15 rounds, Ali outpoints him, yeah?
Yeah, he outpoints him. Because the further the fight would have been, Ali would have got to Tyson. Mike, see, what people got to understand is Steve Lott knows jack about boxing. He thinks he's a boxing encyclopedia. Steve Lott is a yo-yo. He don't know nothing about no boxing, you know? Ali, first of all, Ali had the best chin in heavyweight boxing.
Yeah, he did.
Nobody had a chin like Ali. When Ali took those punches, did you see what Tony Tucker did with Mike Tyson? You see what Mitch Blood Green did with Tyson? Anybody that had any movement that can box can give Mike problems.
Mitch
Right?
Green didn't give Tyson problems, though. Tyson beat him easy.
Who?
Mitch Green. Tyson beat him up easy.
Yeah, but he really couldn't get the punches in he wanted to get in.
Yeah, but Mitch was just in survival mode. He wasn't trying to win.
He went the distance.
Yeah, but he wasn't trying to win. He just tried to go the distance, and that's all he did.
Remember you said about guys who they make up their mind to go the distance. That's what they're going to do.
But Mitch had that ring savvy, that guile that kept him in there. Because Mike was landing some bombs on him.
Yeah.
Ali would have put pressure on Mike Tyson. When I say pressure, he'd have put mental pressure on him. He'd have put mental pressure on him before the fight, and would put mental pressure on him in the fight.
Yeah, that's the mental pressure Ali do. Ali's not. He fights you before the fight, man. He's fighting you before the fight with his mouth and everything. What you gonna do and words and
There's a few ways that fight could go. Like I tell you what, if Ali had Tony Perez, as the referee against Tyson that he had in the second fight with Frazier, he might beat him because Perez let Ali clutch and clinch a lot in that fight. But the referee in the Thriller of Manila, I think it was Carlos Padilla, he was given the heads up, don't let Ali hold. If he holds, warn him. And that's why the fight was so exciting. If Tyson had Padilla and he said, Ali, no clinching, no holding, it could be interesting.
Larry Holmes, old Larry Holmes. Look what he did with Tyson before the knockout.
He didn't do anything. He threw a few
he was
jabs.
moving around. He was moving around and boxing him, sticking him with that jab.
Yeah, that was the show. What happened by the fourth round? He ran him over.
Nah, go on, Bashir. Mr. Bashir. Go ahead.
Let's talk about prime on prime.
Yes, we're talking about prime on prime beats, not flat-footed.
What Tyson stopped him, the fourth round?
Yeah.
He stopped him because his hand got hung up in them ropes.
Yeah, his arm got caught up in the rope. He was trying to throw the uppercut.
And that left the door open for him to get knocked out.
He stopped him because he landed one.
He stood flat-footed. He stood. This is what he's saying. He stood.
Now he was getting ready to make a stand. He was going to hit Tyson.
Yeah.
But his arm got hung up in the ropes. But just that little stuff that Larry was doing, I saw could create problems for Mike. Muhammad would get him. He'd outpoint him. Maybe he wouldn't knock him out, but he'd outpoint him. You know, he would outpoint him. Tyson wouldn't be able to deal with that kind of stuff. Mike gets frustrated at certain points in the fight.
Yeah, he does.
He's a very fragile guy mentally, you know?
Bite your ear.
Ali started hitting him and moving. And, come on, sucker. Come on, sucker. You're too slow, sucker. Hitting him with them combos. No, I got Ali winning the fight decision. Maybe he would stop Mike, but he was decisioning. Ali found a way to win. Mike wouldn't put no more pressure on Ali. In fact, I think he would have put less pressure on him than Joe did. You know? Joe couldn't punch like Mike. But Mike could. No, I'll leave by decision. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. I'll see Ali win the decision.
Okay. Interesting, anyway. Interesting, boy.
You never know.
Yeah. Interesting. Beats, you got any more?
No, I'm good right now, man. I'm good.
Hey, Mr. Bashir, man, this has been a great interview with you, and we're looking forward to talk to you quite often. You're on my talk to you quite often, and we appreciate you giving us your time. And so we look forward to the next fight. Maybe we can talk to you probably maybe after one of your clips, after Vladimir's had his fight, maybe if you're online about, you know.